semi-established veteran, a young player, maybe a pick. So you're probably taking a step back because it's just impossible, especially in these circumstances, to get even close to fair value for a top 10 player in the league. So you can expect to take a step back from that. And maybe you miss the playoffs. Maybe you're trying to then retool again around Wiggins, Towns, the young guys more than the veterans. Taj, I think will be gone. Jeff Teague will probably stick around, but some of these veterans will be leaving, and you'll have a chance to retool a little bit. But there is a chance that whatever deal you get, if you do get a starting caliber player and maybe a good young player and a pick, that maybe this galvanizes the other kids that have been just that have not wanted Jimmy around or have struggled to mesh with Jimmy. And maybe this is the time for Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins to say, I'm going to show these guys we don't need Jimmy Butler, and it is my time, and it's time to go. You look at what Indiana did by moving Paul George. They get back Oladipo and Sabonis. I don't think they're going to get anything close to that package for Jimmy. But when they first made the trade, they were like, oh, man, Indiana got worked in that trade. They're done. They're sunk. And then it turned into this great story of Oladipo emerging and coming out of the shadow of Russell, and then just a young team coming together with chemistry and playing hard and with something to prove, and they took really good steps in the right direction. So that is possible. But the other complicating factor of this is Tibbs is still your coach, and I think he is incredibly weakened right now, given the circumstances and given that Jimmy Butler is turning his back on him. And so if there were tensions between Tibbs and Towns and Wiggins or any of the other non-Bulls Timberwolves, this is the opening to exploit and to say, all right, you wanted your guys and you got what you wanted, and it shows that you don't know what you think you know, and now I'm going to try and take over. That's probably not the mature way to do it. That's not the right way to do it, but it is possible that happens. And so it's envisioning Tibbs leading this team out of the tunnel on opening night without Jimmy Butler and everyone singing Kumbaya and, yeah, we're going to show him. Man, that's hard. That's hard to envision that it going that smoothly. We'll see, but there is a chance, but it is a nasty maze they have to navigate here to get to the other side.
Go to sodastick.com to check out their new MV football mark hats. They just released. They're pretty good looking, and they could probably pass for like Mankato hats too if you're not interested in just the Vikings. They're always doing new releases. Go to their website, sodastick.com. Check out their football, hockey, baseball, curling, basketball. I always wear my basketball shirt around. I got complimented on it on my last trip to Green Bay. They also do a lot of events. Soda Stick Hockey Classic, Kickoff Party, and Silent Auction is September 27th. That's a Thursday night. 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, Invictus Brewing. I'm sure they'll have the Vikings game on there. And you can go there and have a good time. We might be setting up a show from this network to be there on that night. We're trying to deal with some logistics, but we're hoping to be there. And then they're going to actually host the Soda Stick Hockey Classic Friday and Saturday, September 20th and 29th, all day at the Schwann Super Rink. Check out sodastick.com. Check out their gear. Check out their events. And thanks for their sponsorship. For some reason, I'm hopeful. And it's not logical for me to be hopeful at this point. But I just wonder if this shock to the system, if they get anything reasonable back, a useful player, maybe this loosens up the offense. Maybe it makes Cat a better player. Maybe it makes him better in late-game situations. Maybe they put more emphasis on three-point shooting. There won't be as talented a roster, but and maybe Cat just says, now it's my franchise, I'm going to play like Anthony Davis.
It's possible, yeah. It sure is. If Cat wants to take that approach, he certainly has the ability to do it. he will have to navigate a few things to sort of grab hold. I mean, Jimmy had his fair share of skeptics in that locker room, and I think there's not skeptics about Cat, but I think that they're still waiting for him to find the right approach as a leader for them to get behind and follow. That often comes with maturity, so that could be the case. That could very well happen. He wants it so badly. He wants to be that guy. You can see it. He works incredibly hard. He is incredibly skilled. So the opportunity is going to be there for him as long as he goes about it the right way. Yeah, there's that chance. And I think, the times that Wiggins has played like a number one pick has been when he has an axe to grind. Cleveland, Toronto, LA, when he wants to show up. And there is a chance that this is sort of the occasion to light that fire as well. And for him to come in and say, I'm finally going to show people. Okay, you doubt me, Steven Jackson. You want to take your shots at me, Jimmy Butler. Okay, you want to call me soft, all that stuff. Now I'm going to show you, and he has to do it. He hasn't done that yet, but he has the physical talent to do that. So it's not like you would be asking players to do something they're incapable of doing. Both Towns and Wiggins are capable of doing this stuff. It's a matter of them figuring out how to do it and wanting it enough to do that. So it doesn't have to be the end of the franchise. They have that talent on their roster to buffer that. But it is going to require a lot from those young players to step into that hole and to take the right approach and to do it. So I'm intrigued as all get out about how everyone is going to react to this. It could completely fall apart, or it could be a galvanizing moment for a lot of guys in there, and they could figure these out. I will say, with the other Timber Bulls, I think that Jimmy was the personality, the grinder, the one who would kind of ruffle feathers and express annoyance and frustration with the guys and rub people the wrong way in there. Guys like Taj Gibson is incredibly level-headed. He kind of tried to back the young guys when they were criticized, and he defended them publicly and things like that. And he even would rebut Tibbs in some cases post-game just to send out the right message. I think Luol Deng is that kind of guy as well. And I think Derrick Rose will be Derrick Rose, and he knows he's not good enough to take over anymore. And so he has a better idea of his role. So I think those guys will probably be fine. You take Jimmy out of that equation, and it changes the locker room tenor a lot, and we'll see if it's for the better or the worse.
I have some thoughts on Jimmy and a kind of a question about Glenn Taylor. We're also going to take some Twitter questions. I want to welcome Bite Squad as our newest sponsor of the Talk North Podcast Network. Bite Squad delivers food from hundreds of Twin Cities restaurants. Order online at bitesquad.com or download their app. Get food to your door in minutes. And for a limited time, use the promo code TALKNORTH to get your first delivery free. If you want to do us a favor, keep using Talk North as you continue to use Bite Squad, just to let them know that you're supporting the network. Bite Squad, food for your mood delivered. The one thing I'll say about Jimmy is all the talk about winning. It's all about winning. And then he's begging out of a situation where he's playing with really good talent and some good friends for a coach he trusts, and he wants to go play for a crappy franchise.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say first about the teams that are reportedly on the list, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Knicks, the Nets. You can say you look at all three of those, and you're like, how's he going to win there? But I think those are calculated maneuvers because all three of those franchises will have enough cap room at the end of next summer to bring in another star with him, or the assets to acquire one in a trade. So he may think, or you may think like, well, he's just going to go there, and what is that team going to do just with Jimmy Butler? But the idea is, whether it's Kyrie Irving or Klay Thompson or whoever else, that they have the means to go get somebody else and really put together something. So in that regard, I think people are underestimating maybe his selections that way a little bit. But you're right about, in terms of it's having the talent available here, and doing your best to try and make that work and maximize it. And I don't know that that's happened yet here, and I don't know that he can say that everything has been done to squeeze the most potential out of this group. So that's where I'd say, I reported at The Athletic too, is that there is a financial component to this a little bit. By demanding the trade now and ideally joining another team before the start of the season, then he can have the bird rights. The other team will have his bird rights, and so they can sign him to a 5-year, $188 million deal next summer if they want to. Whereas if he gets traded mid-season, like if they get into December, January, and you trade Jimmy Butler because things aren't going well, that eliminates the mega max for him with another team. So there are financial motivations to make this play right now, just as much as there are competitive or personality conflicts, things like that. I was told by people, and people are laughing at me on Twitter for putting this out, that his motivations for making this trade right now were as much or more contractual than any problems he had with Cat and Wiggins. Now, he clearly had issues with them, and maybe I worded the tweet poorly, but there are levels to his reasons, and I think the Cat Wiggins drama, or whatever you want to call it, is further down the list than the financial and competitive
I have no
sides.
doubt about that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Jimmy being a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
No question about it. We can question the order of his motivations and the priorities and everything else, but there's no doubt, whether you like it or not, this is financially motivated.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see if Tibbs acquiesces and see if he does it.
My last question of this podcast is going to be, what's Glenn Taylor thinking? But let's get to some Twitter questions. We had to blow off a lot of the good ones from yesterday because of the breaking news. My friend Tony Hoagland, who came out to Delano's to see the Russo Suhan show the other day and who sponsors a bunch of programs, is also co-host of the Minnesota Sports Fan podcast on this network. If I were Tibbs, my grandpa would not so kindly ask the following question: what in the Sam hell is going on around here? We can almost treat that as rhetorical, but good question. Tony.
Yeah. What's going on is disaster.
Yes.
That's chaos, disaster. There's no overstating it.
From Brian Garanich, it's weird for me to be the person not as panicked by everything as everybody else. I'm not comfortable in this role. From Brian Garanich, at this point, I don't know how you could have an opening night where the announcer says, starting at guard, number 23, Jimmy Butler. The whole place would boo. Can't even imagine how toxic the locker room would be. Tobias and SGA is a package I could get excited about.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, I do think that Tibbs is so far putting on the face that he does not want to trade Jimmy Butler, that he won't trade Jimmy Butler. But
you have to.
You can't. You have to. You have to do it. You have to do it. It would be incredibly toxic, and you've already. But it all gets back to this, and the problems with the conflicts of interest with a dual president and coach is Tibbs is tied to Jimmy Butler, and Tibbs knows that if he trades him, he's probably out of a job. It's hard to see him surviving this, and so will he swallow his pride? Will he do what needs to be done? Will Glenn Taylor have to overrule him and say, you have to do this? There's all of this tangled web spaghetti noodles that the spaghetti sauce is spilling all over our shirts. It's really messy.
From Weston Johnson, how concerned is Glenn Taylor, RE, the fan perception of Tibbs? Taylor's in a hard position, owing $24 million to a coach who's likely to be booed by the home fans from day one.
Yeah, it's it's an issue. We've reported this a lot. I mean, they don't have